when we are going to look at them now and when people hear from them, they take more or less of a military security context. But many of them are actually things that are in our daily use. So it makes it very, very important that we understand what we are talking about, and so that the law makes a very clear distinction when we are in danger and when actually we are actually in civilian use that is important for health. Unfortunately, these are the same articles or products that are also used for weapons of mass destruction, in terrorism, and even in war. And sometimes it's not the actual article, but just the precursors of the same article, which can be brought in not as a full article, but as a precursor, and very easily changed into extremely dangerous weapons. And they are of all natures. Some are chemical, nuclear, biological, and so on. And you see, we are very well represented here as a committee, because in any case, Mr. Minister, anything that goes wrong in a society at the very end is a health matter. Anything. Even if it's a car, it's a bus that has collided with another one, even if it's fire, even if it's a flood, even if it is a drought, eventually it becomes, even if it is riot, it becomes a health issue. So that's why we're here. And then these things, again, as I said, they are used a lot. You find them in health. We are using them in health. They are in trade. They are using them in customs. We are using them everywhere, so that it therefore becomes easy for people to get hands on them, leave alone import them officially, so that they can be easily availed. And to that extent, they know no borders. So they are internationally smuggled, internationally imported. So it is therefore important that we have some laws about them, starting with international laws, that this Security Council Resolution 1540. But even if you have that, it is important that we then have national control within the country. And I think that is where we come in. And as we had before you came, we have about 5 laws that are actually touching on this, so that when we are looking at this particular bill, we will have to see how it interacts with that and where we need to make amendments in the other laws. And it's not just in the laws, it will also be in our interaction, how the various people in the various departments interact when they are going about their normal legal businesses. So people who are at the port and using radiation equipment have to relate somehow with people who are in hospitals and using radiation equipment, just for example. So this is an extremely important thing, that we have our own laws. But even when we have the laws, Honorable Minister, it will also be important how we adhere to these laws. I think that will be the biggest challenge. And in that aspect, it's good that we are all here. That makes it easier. Mr. Minister, there's even a much bigger aspect: the international adherence to the international laws. Our laws may be perfect, but how do we relate? You may have situations where we adhere to our laws, but maybe our neighbors, our countries don't. So these are issues that I think at this level we have to look at. I'll use a little bit of my experience in this context. I'll, for example, talk about the smallpox germ. This smallpox was eradicated in about 1979, but the US laboratories and the Russian laboratories were allowed by WHO to actually own them. And it reached a point when it was felt that actually we now know enough about them, everything should now be destroyed. It has been the most difficult thing to do. And now the US is quitting the WHO. I can see my friend is looking at me. That is what is going through my mind. If we had not been able to actually agree when they were in WHO, and now when they quit WHO, what then happens? So I think as we look at the national laws, it's also extremely important. Our friend is here to look at how we relate internationally. Even the ICJ case, International Court of Justice, we have similar issues. So I think it's important at national level, we shall do our best, do our laws, and do as much as we can for the welfare of our people. But we cannot succeed if internationally we do not get to the same agreement on adherence to these laws. Thank you. With that, I think I've talked a little bit much, but I think it's probably may be useful. Thank you, Wesley.